Thank you, Morgan. What a wonderful job. It's my great honor to welcome you to the 2011 commencement celebration at LaGrange College. For more than 150 years now, after moving from its original site further east on Broad Street, the college has gathered together on this campus during the beautiful, warm month of May to confer degrees on its graduates and to celebrate their accomplishments with parents, family, friends, citizens of the city of LaGrange, distinguished guests, and members of the college community. We welcome you all to this glorious celebration and grand historic tradition, and we thank you for being here. This is a most special commencement, not only because of how special each and every one of these graduates are, though certainly you are, and not only because of how lovely and relatively cool the day, though most certainly it is. In addition, though, as we listen to the distant drone and near whine of our friends, the cicadas, and yes, as we swat the occasional red-eyed monster from our hair or our clothes, we recognize that these once every 13-year guests are here for only the 13th time since LaGrange College started awarding degrees. Our mathematicians would appreciate this. This is a 13 squared moment. Never has happened before, never will again. And I'm sure never to be forgotten by the class of 2011. So we not only tolerate them today, we celebrate with them. At the soul of this college is a group of individuals who daily devote their lives to teaching, to learning, and to serving students. LaGrange College is blessed by an extraordinary faculty and staff who are dedicated to transforming students as they challenge minds and inspire souls, helping them to grow in knowledge, experience, understanding, wisdom, and faith. Would the members of the LaGrange College faculty and staff stand as we join together in acknowledging your transforming influence on the lives of these graduates? Standing alongside our graduates every step of the way, encouraging you when you were discouraged, loving you even when you may have fallen short, cheering you on to achieve your very best, and yes, paying your bills, or watching the kids, or doing your dishes and laundry in one way or another, taking on the extra load so you could pursue your education, are your parents, spouses, brothers, sisters, children, grandparents, aunts, and uncles. With the families of the class of 2011, please stand so we can acknowledge your central and lifelong influence on your graduates' lives. Welcome all to this commencement ceremony. And now I would like to introduce Glenn Gantner, an English major from Columbus, Georgia, member of Delta Tau Delta, who has held many offices in that organization, president this last year of the Social Council, a LaGrange College ambassador, and chairman of the 2011 Senior Gift Campaign. Glenn's personal motto is, "No excuses." That's a great motto to have and one that's leading an important fundraising effort. Glenn, please come forward.
As we look around us at our beautiful campus, the class of 2011 has benefited from the investments and generosity of our alumni, faculty and staff, and friends. Today, the graduating class of 2011 is also celebrating our class's commitment to philanthropy through our gifts to the 2011 I Gave campaign. I Gave is a senior student fundraising campaign comprised of volunteers from the senior class who are committed to engaging their classmates and giving back to LaGrange College. Would the I Gave committee please stand and be recognized? The dollars raised by the class of 2011 will be donated to the LaGrange College Fund that supports deserving students in the form of institutional aid, as well as funding critical student programs and academic excellence. The class of 2011 shows pride in more than doubling prior classes' giving rate and amount. President McAlexander, on behalf of the class of 2011, I would like to present to you a check from our class for $3,772. Thank you, class of 2011, and remember, it's not too late to make a gift.
The Waits G. Henry Jr. Award is given annually to a student who has distinguished him or herself by actively demonstrating effective leadership skills, scholarship, and service. Selection of the recipient is made by a committee composed of students, faculty, and administrators. The award, named in honor of the 20th president of LaGrange College, is the highest award given to a student. This year's recipient meets all three criteria. He distinguished himself over the past 4 years academically. He engaged in numerous service projects both on campus and in the community, and he exhibited especially strong leadership throughout his 4 years at the college, most notably serving during the past 2 years as president of the Student Government Association. I'm very pleased to invite forward as the recipient of the Waits G. Henry Jr. Award for 2011, Roy Christopher Daniel.
Good morning. On behalf of the class of 2011, I want to thank you all for coming to celebrate this momentous day with us. We have faculty, staff, administration, moms, dads, brothers, sisters, grandparents, aunts, cousins, and many more friends. And thousands of cicadas that have come out of the ground from 13 years of sleeping just for this occasion. If you see any frantic arm movements or hear any screams, don't panic. It's probably just a routine cicada attack that we've all become accustomed to over the past few weeks. Nevertheless, the cicadas will certainly be something we all remember about our class graduation. LaGrange College has provided us with many memories along the way for sure. We have football players here who will always remember going without a single win one season and becoming conference champions the next. We have softball players here who will always remember dominating every single year. We have students here who will never forget all the cool artifacts they dug up prior to our new library being built. Speaking of our new library, now that we are graduating, I will say we have one student here who will always remember sneaking into the library to explore it with his best friend before it was completely built late one night while he was procrastinating. We also have students here who are a part of an accounting department that is the first in the world to be accredited by ACBSP. We have students here who will always remember their trip to Washington, D.C. to fight for LaGrange College and other private school funding from the government. We have students here who knew English and very little of any other language upon their arrival, but will graduate almost bilingual. We have students here who have completed undergraduate research projects and papers that I couldn't begin to understand. We have many students here who will remember our BURPS, which stands for Big Unorganized Ridiculous Party, that took place right here on the quad. We have students here who will always remember their hundreds and hundreds of rounds of Frisbee golf all over this campus. And other students who will probably remember being hit by those Frisbees. We have a couple students who will always remember and cherish the memories they have made with the one they love along the way. They will remember getting engaged on the patio and will eventually remember living together in the freshman boys' dorm as resident directors and newlyweds. If that describes you, please stand. The one that stood for just a second was my fiance, and I love you dearly. I'm very proud of you, and I want to thank you for putting up with me all these years. We also have students here who have traveled with their friends on Jan-term trips to places like Ireland, China, Spain, Paris, the Galapagos Islands. And for me, my trip to Ireland was not only my first international trip, but also the first time I had ever stepped foot onto an airplane. So please stand if you have been a part of an experience for a Jan-term trip at LaGrange College. We have students who will never forget breaking into the Dean of Students' office after midnight on his 50th birthday to saran wrap literally every single thing in his office and throw balloons and streamers everywhere with the help of a few friends and his very own secretary, Miss Kirby. We have students here who will never forget their cherished moments in the offices of Dean B., Dean Slade, Dr. Quincy Brown, and countless other faculty, staff, and administration. The memories I have highlighted today are such a small fraction of the many memories that LaGrange College has given this class. This place has truly transformed the lives of each and every graduate here today. Now, some of my peers are probably saying at this time, oh gosh, he said it, LaGrange College has transformed our lives. We know what he's going to say next. LaGrange College has challenged our minds, inspired our souls, blah, 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 blah. We've heard it over and over again. Time and time and time and time again. However, just like any phrase that's too perfect to change, like roll tide, Dr. McClanahan, there is no better way to express this college does for its students. Thanks to this college, we are all smarter, wiser, more experienced, and many of us are much larger too, unfortunately. So, by a round of applause, who has gained weight while attending LaGrange College? That's what I thought. No matter what our pant size is, though, we are all far more prepared for the life outside of college. Some of us already have jobs waiting for us as we graduate, thanks to the amazing education we have received here. I also want to take just a second to thank the Career Development Center for all the work that they do to prepare graduates, and even alumni with resumes, interviews, job opportunities, and so much more. The work that Diana Goldwire, Katie Porter, and Sharon Newton do for the students of this college is a godsend. Too many students do not take advantage of their services. Some may even be sitting here right now asking the person beside them where their office even is. So I encourage all of you current and future students of LC to find and use the Career Development Center while you're here. It will literally change your life. Many of us have jobs already lined up in the city of LaGrange after graduation. After speaking with Mr. Will Jones just yesterday, he explained to me that 25% of LC's graduates live and work in LaGrange, and 75% of LC's graduates live and work in the state of Georgia. I am happy to announce that I will be teaching 3rd and 4th grade science and social studies at Berta Weathersby Elementary School, just 1.3 miles away from the college beginning in the fall. So I'll be a part of that statistic. I love this place so much, like many of our graduates, that I'm refusing to leave. I'm going to start my experience all over again at the college by moving back into the freshman dorm boat right next year to be the resident director. Some say I'm crazy, but I love the Army tank of a building. I want to leave you, class of 2011, classmates and friends, with this. Do not let LaGrange College be the last place that your mind is challenged, the last place that your soul is inspired, or the last place that your life is transformed. As we finish this chapter in our lives and begin the next, seek opportunities to challenge your mind, inspire your soul, and transform your life. Glorify God in all that you do. Challenge the minds, inspire the souls, and transform the lives of those around you. Be LaGrange College when you leave this place. And never forget your family on the hill. I love you all. I love LaGrange College. God bless you. Congratulations. And thank you, class of 2011.
Thank you so very much, Chris. And if we ever needed evidence that we transformed lives and that this is a special place, you just heard it right there. Our students experience the high expectations and rigorous demands of our faculty to such an extent that their idea of a good time is sneaking into the library. I tell you, when I look at my fellow presidents, my colleagues across the state and around the country, and I think of the problems many of them face, I can handle that kind of problem. So keep it up. Sneak into that library. Thank you so very much, Chris. It is my honor to introduce our speaker, whose presence here today honors both this college and the city of LaGrange. A native son of LaGrange, Bo Callaway has served this town, this region, this state, and this country with love, intelligence, loyalty, dignity, honesty, and integrity throughout his life. You have in your programs a brief biographical sketch of Mr. Callaway. We will be reading a citation recounting his many accomplishments and honoring his rich life of service later in this ceremony. So I won't introduce him with a review of the biography. I want to use these few moments, however, to tell you a few things about him that you would not find in a bio or an honorary doctorate citation. Bo was born at 1106 Vernon Street in the house right next to the current LaGrange College President's Home. He attended Harwell Avenue School until he was in 5th grade when his family moved to Hamilton, Georgia. That move to Hamilton proved fortuitous, for it was in the 6th grade there that Bo met his future wife, Beth, whom he married in 1949. Their wonderful marriage lasted for 60 years till her death in December of 2009. Together, they had 5 children, 16 grandchildren, and now 2 great-grandchildren. I know that she watches her beloved Bo with pride today. A lifelong and passionate dedication to the United States Army Infantry came naturally to this West Point graduate, who served in the Korean War with courage and honor. Today, he continues that dedication as a board member of the United States Army Infantry Foundation, one who was instrumental in the building of the new Infantry Museum in Columbus. But with Bo, it's not all about business and service. He is an intrepid Atlanta Braves fan who rarely misses a home game and often travels to Florida for their spring training. He loves baseball and children, perhaps equally. And he put those loves together when he started the summer camp program in Denver, Colorado, where he was living at the time, called Opportunities Through Baseball, which was an opportunity for inner city kids to learn to play the game. Even after moving from Denver, throughout the rest of the life of the camp, he traveled back every summer so he could be there for the entire 2 weeks of it. This kind of generosity and dedication to helping others less fortunate than he is typical of the family in which Bo grew up. In this town alone, the Florence Hand Home is named for Bo's grandmother. Hollis Hand Elementary is named for his uncle, his mother's younger brother. The Callaway Academic Building on this campus for his grandfather, and the Callaway Science Building for his father. While one might expect a West Point grad with a strong military discipline to be a health nut, and he is, at 84 years young, still walking 5 miles per day and eating a heart-healthy diet, one might be just a bit surprised to discover that this native landlubber and dedicated GI is also a devoted sailor whose great pride is an ocean-going sailboat. He keeps it docked in the British Virgin Islands and visits it often. Its name, "Oh, be joyful," reflects one of his favorite scriptures, Psalm 100. "Oh, be joyful in the Lord, all you lands. Serve the Lord with gladness, and come before his presence with singing." It is most fitting that the name of his boat, a place where he finds great joy, is a phrase that his friends and associates would affirm epitomizes the way Bo leads his life. Please join me in welcoming most joyfully our speaker, Mr. Howard Hollis, Bo Callaway.
Ben, thank you. I said last night when I was here that in introduction somewhat like this that it would have been great if my mother and dad could be here today and hear that introduction. My dad would have loved it. My mother would have believed it. So President Alexander, members of the faculty, members of the graduating class and the family of the class of 2011 at LaGrange College. There's no way I can tell you how pleased I am to be here. LaGrange College is in my blood. President McAlexander did not tell you about how I got to school every good day when it wasn't raining, from Vernon to Harwell Avenue, a few blocks from here, long dead, burned in 2 different fires before they got rid of it. I would walk from school, 5 years old when I first started, and walk by here. This was a female college at that time. I was 5 years old. I was sort of impressed with those girls. And as I would walk along, there's still a little retaining wall right across from the college on the campus across the way. It's about this high. And I would jump up on that to get a little closer view of all the girls. And I'm walking by when LaGrange College is waking up. And I feel I'm a part of that school for the 5 years that I walked back and forth right beside. I've known almost all of the presidents of LaGrange College in my life. They were all good friends of my dad's. I knew Hubert Quillian well, Waits Henry extremely well, Walter Murphy, Stuart Gully, and now my new friend, Dan McAlexander. I'll bet every one of you here realizes how old this school is and how important it is to be with a history of such tradition as you've got. You know, its life began 180 years ago in 1831. It's a long time ago. Andrew Jackson, remember him? He was President of the United States. That was 30 years before the war between the states began. And get this is something you may not know. In that year, 1831, was the year that we had the very first bank robbery in the United States of America. That's a long time ago. It's the year the London Bridge opened. It's the year that Charles Darwin boarded the HMS Beagle. It's the year that de Tocqueville first came to America. And our flag contained 24 stars neatly arranged in rows by 6 by 4. What history? I was going to tell you a little bit about the history of the college and what it's done. And I was thinking of one thing. If you'd gone on to that first class here and said, you can come back here today and look at LaGrange College, and what if somebody told you they now have a football team? What would they say? I'll tell you what they'd say. They'd say nothing. They couldn't. There was no football. Football was not invented until a guy named Walter Camp put a scrimmage line on a rugby field, and that's the beginning. And Walter Camp was not born for 4 decades after this school started. So it's been around a long time. And from these great beginnings, where you've come today, I was going to talk about this some, but Chris, just give your speech again, and you'll see what this college is. The things that he talked about. You've got to be so proud of that. Well, so that brings me to what do I say at this commencement? Commencement addresses are normally aimed to the graduating class, of course, but many of them use that to talk about other great things like foreign policy and things like that, which I'm not going to bore you with today. The most famous and far-reaching commencement speech in my lifetime might well have been the one given by the Secretary of State, George Marshall, at Harvard in 1946. This is the speech that outlined the Marshall Plan for the first time. This is the speech that set the stage for the revival of the German economy, for the European policies for the next 4 days. The graduating students did not care about that. They wanted only one thing: how long would the speech last? It was short. They do remember that the speech took less than 12 minutes to change the world. The perfect commencement speech, from the viewpoint of the university president who gave it and the viewpoint of the students, was the following, which I will read in its entirety. Congratulations. Go out and get a job. Donate generously to the Alumni Fund. Remember the college in your will. Thanks for coming to school here. Good luck. Well, I can't make a whole lot of points because my speech must be short as well. I'm sure that's what you want. I've just got a few things which is really not fair of me, but I don't know what to talk about except what's happened to my life and what I've seen in the time that I've been here. And a couple of things that you know already. You know everything I'm going to say, you know, except maybe one thing you may not. I'm going to say, you got to be enthusiastic in life. Can you imagine anything less fun than sitting around with somebody that tells you how the world's coming to an end? Even if you think it is, don't believe it. Just go with being optimistic. And think big. All of us can think big. And I will tell you a little bit more about integrity, perhaps. And the one thing that I will tell you that I think you've never heard before, that if you were listening, and I'm sure you won't be, but if you are listening, it can change your life because it is very profound, and I didn't make it up. I just learned it. Be positive and enthusiastic in everything you do. There's a real magic. This is Norman Vincent Peale, good guy. He says there's a real magic in enthusiasm. It spells the difference between mediocrity and accomplishment. We all know that. If you wake up feeling tired and you can talk yourself into being enthusiastic, talk yourself into smiling. If you're going for an interview, don't worry about what your qualifications are. Worry about going there and being enthusiastic and you'll get the job. If you're teaching in school, be enthusiastic with those kids when you're talking to them, Chris. Don't be out there and say, I've got something dull like arithmetic to talk about. And wear your bow tie. I recently heard a story alleged to be true about a gracious old lady who gathered her family around for a deathbed, and she said, "It's time for me to plan for my funeral now, and I want to be buried in my favorite blue dress, and I want a silver fork placed in my right hand when I'm placed in the coffin." And the family asked, "Well, why do you want the fork?" She said, "I grew up in the Depression, and while we were never really hungry, things were always tight, and we sometimes wanted a little more than we got. But every once in a while, my mother, when taking out the plates to the kitchen, would say, 'Hold on to your fork.' And we knew dessert was coming. So when I hold on to my fork, I know that good times are ahead. So hold on to your fork, they are. It's the same thing that Reagan said with the shining city on the hill. Things are going to be better. I think it's important to think as big as you can. There's a great guy named Daniel Burnham, an architect who did the Union Station in Washington, many of you've seen. He also totally redeveloped downtown Chicago after the fire that destroyed it. And he has a statement that I will read to you later. It is, "Make no little plans, they have no capacity to stir men's blood." And he believed in that. My dad, Casey Callaway, thought big when he built Callaway Gardens. And he wanted it not only to take eroded, worn-out cotton land and make it into something beautiful, but he said he wanted it to be the most beautiful garden until Gabriel blows his horn. He says it's easy to make the most beautiful garden since Adam was born, but much tougher to make the most beautiful until Gabriel. And he's pretty well accomplished that. It is now, to the best of my knowledge and the best that I can find out, is the largest privately owned public garden in the world. And when he started, all our friends in Chipley, that's now Pine Mountain, came up to me and said, "Oh, don't worry. I'll take care of your dad after he goes broke." No public garden has ever made money. How can you possibly do this in this great big garden of the country that's so far from Atlanta you can't find Atlanta in those days? Dirt roads, no interstates. And it's still plugging along pretty good after 60 years. Robert Gonzetta, who was the late head of the Coca-Cola Company, he thought big. He had a statement that I thought is good for thinking big. He said this: "A billion minutes ago, Christianity emerged. A billion seconds ago, the Beatles performed on the Ed Sullivan Show. A billion Coca-Colas ago was yesterday." And he wanted to make it bigger, and he did. But you don't have to build the Panama Canal or Coke or even Callaway Gardens to think big. I'm going to tell you one little story about one of my grandchildren. I got 16, all perfect. This is one. He's the fourth child in a family, and fourth children grow up sort of left to fend for themselves. And his other children were very successful. His parents had a thing that I think is very good. When you get to be parents, remember this. They said, "We will put you through undergraduate school, but after that you're on your own." But they also said, "If going to undergraduate school you get a scholarship that saves us money, we will reimburse you personally for the money you saved us." That's motivation. So this little kid's motivated. Nobody pays any attention to him. They think he's just sort of getting along. In his junior year in high school, he determines that there's one scholarship in Canada. They live in Canada, in Toronto. There's one scholarship that's the end of all scholarships. It's full scholarship for everything in school. And he says, I'm going after it. And the trouble was nobody knew how to go after it. They gave it, what's it for? It's for leadership, it's for academic excellence, it's for all these things. But nobody knew what it was for. He's interested, very interested in statistics, and I've talked to you about that. But he got down and put every parameter you could, and he researched every single person who had gotten this scholarship in the last 20 years, and then put together what clicks, and he found out something nobody had ever known. You have to pass to get out of high school. You have to have some community service. You have to but what gets you there is your excellence in science, chemistry, and mathematics. And so he went back to his mother and said, I figured it out. The next day he came home with the first C, the next semester he came home with the first C he'd ever had in his life. And he said, Luke, what are you doing? You never had a C. He said, Mom, you don't listen. All I have to do is pass. I'm passing. How did I do on the science, chemistry, and math? A+. Got it. He made all A pluses from there on and got the scholarship. I think, that's sort of fun. I don't know what y'all can do, but you can figure out what to do and then do it. The opportunities available to you everywhere. You've got a great education. And with a great education, much has been given, much needs to be returned. Each one of you is in a wonderful position to make a huge difference in LaGrange or wherever you settle. And of course, you've got to have a green. If any of you ever seen the movie or the reruns on South Pacific, the Happy Talk, and then there's the line, if you ain't got a dream, how are you going to make your dream come true? And you can't. You've got to have that dream and you've got to move toward it. Thinking big won't be worth anything unless you have the one great thing that's really important. And that is integrity. And my dad wrote a book called What is an Executive? It's a little pamphlet you can read in 10 minutes. He just published it a week before he died. There's a little nothing. You'd think you could read it and nothing to this. They think enough of it at Harvard and Stanford. It's in the curriculum for their business schools. It's interesting. The first thing he says, he had 24 points. The first thing he said in opening, he says, of course, there's integrity. That's not a point. If you don't have integrity, forget everything else. My alma mater, West Point, has a student-run honor code. LaGrange College has a student-run college code. That honor code is important to you. I know how you honor it and treasure it and respect it. West Point's is different, all a little different. It's basically the simple one that's sort of so simple, what else would it be? A cadet will neither lie, cheat, nor steal. But we do something else that Annapolis doesn't do, and Air Force Academy doesn't do. And we add one more sentence to that. A cadet will neither lie, cheat, nor steal, nor tolerate among us those that do. Now, you'd probably say, I'm going to snitch on my buddies, and I'm not going to do that. But when you're talking about a word, it's got to be trusted when you're in a combat situation, where you quickly say off something, where you can't hedge it, you can't exaggerate it, you've got to be absolutely precisely true. And if you tolerate someone among you in that situation, it poisons the whole well. And we think that's very important. I'll tell you another personal story. I was in Congress in my 30s. I was one of the youngest people in Congress, the largest Democratic majority that had been in years. And I was a little freshman Republican, no influence whatsoever, but so absolutely thrilled and impressed to be in that great chamber and to think, I'm part of it. And on my second day there, I'm trying to learn about Congress. I'm sitting on the floor. I'm sitting next to my buddy Don Rumsfeld, who was a sophomore and I was a freshman. The speaker's a guy named McCormick, an Irishman from Boston. They have during the debates a quorum of 100 is required to conduct business. And a lot of times either Democrats or Republicans will want a quorum because it takes time and you need some time to prepare something you haven't done. So I'm trying to learn the rules and I'm looking there and a Republican says, Mr. Speaker, a quorum is not present. And the speaker looks up and I look around, there are about 50 people there, I need 100. And the speaker says, I'll count. So he starts counting, he gets to 50. And it goes on, and then he starts counting a few pages. And then he counts people who go into the cloakroom and come back. And then he scratches his head and points a few more times and says, 100, bam, quorum's present. I said, Rummy, was a quorum present? He said, of course not. He says, we just call that a short quorum, happens about once a week. I said, Rummy, what are you going to do about it? He said, what am I going to do about it? You think I'm going to call the speaker The third man in is the president, vice president, and speaker for the president in line. You think I'm going to go do that? I said, I didn't ask you that. I said, Rummy, what are you going to do about it? He said, I'm not going to do anything about it. He said, you realize you're tolerating among us someone who's lying, cheating, or stealing from this man? He says, yes, I do. Well, I was taught you can't tolerate that. So, 30 years old, this Irish speaker, I go after that day and go, said, Mr. Speaker, I want to talk to you. I'm trying to learn how the Congress works. And there were a lot of people in the room today that didn't think a quorum was present, and tell me how that works. Have you ever seen Mad? This guy turned red, purple, white, couldn't talk. And in about 5 minutes, he got able to talk and said, well, son, I'll explain you how this works. The rules of the House give great latitude to the Speaker, and I'm allowed to hold that count as long as I want until I count to 50. And I did that, and it took about 5 minutes, but I finally got to 100, until I get to 100. And I finally got to 100, and when I got to 100, and that's the way it was. And I shook his hand and said, Mr. Speaker, thank you. I've got to go home to my boys tonight. I want to know that. I knew he was lying. He knew he was lying. He knew I knew he was lying. But I didn't call him a liar. And why is that important? Because it's important to tell the truth in a place like that. And there had been short quorums once a week, and there was never another one. Since there's not been another one. It works. Hey. There'll be a lot of temptations to cut corners as you go around. And I think, and this is the most important thing I'm going to say, I'm going to give you one little saying. And I know you're not going to remember anything I said. If I came back 5 years from now, the only thing you'll remember, you graduated from a great college, and you're not going to remember it. Listen, you can hear great sermons once a week and don't remember them. You're sure not going to remember this, but I'm going to try. George Washington said this at the Constitutional Convention in 1787 with a little struggling country, nobody knew if it'd make it. He didn't say, let's build a strong army. He didn't say those things. Here's what he said. Let us raise a standard to which the wise and honest can repair. The event is in the hands of God. What do you see today? Politics, maybe in your school life. People, what do? In politics, they take a poll. They raise their finger to see what the people want. They try to give them what they want. No, you raise that standard, which is hard. You raise that standard, you have to consider the pros and cons. You have to compromise. You have to do all kinds of things. But you raise that standard as good as you know how, and let God take care of the event. Doesn't matter what happens. It does matter what you do with your life. That is fundamental, and it works. I promise you it works. Let me end with a part of Daniel Burnham's statement. I'll read the whole statement. Make no little plans. They have no capacity to stir men's blood, and probably themselves will not be realized. Make big plans. Aim high in the hope and work, remembering that the noble logical diagram, once recorded, will never die, but long after we're done, will be a living thing asserting itself with mounting intensity. Well, when that time comes a few years from now, when we run into you and say, you gave my commencement address. I gave the commencement address at West Point to General Petraeus. He was a commissioner lieutenant that day. I saw him the first time after 30 years later, and he said, you gave my commencement address. I said, yes, I did. What did I say? Obviously, he didn't know. I hope if I run into you 5 years from now, and you say, you gave my commencement address, and I say, what did I say? I hope you'll say, I listened. I held my fork. I looked for the better world to come with enthusiasm. I followed my dreams and made them big dreams. I've always tried to raise a standard to which the wise and the honest can repair, and I've let God take care of what happens. That's the path I've taken, and I hope you will.
Each year at this time, the LaGrange College Alumni Association presents its Distinguished Service Alumni Award. The recipient of this honor is selected based on his or her continuous devotion to and support of this institution and Chris. Its mission to challenge the minds and inspire the souls of young men and women. This year, with deep respect and admiration, the Alumni Association recognizes Hilliard Jackson Daniel Sr., class of 1982. Jackson, will you please join us on the platform so we can recognize you? I'm going to tell you a little bit about Jackson's contributions to LaGrange College. He has supported LaGrange College for many years with his generous donations to numerous designations and projects, including the Defining Moment campaign, which supported construction of the Frank and Laura Lewis Library and renovations to the Banks Building, the class scholarships for the classes of 1981 and 1982. Jackson, you are an active member of the LaGrange College Alumni Association, serving on its Alumni Council and Executive Committee. You have served as a class coordinator as well as a scholarship coordinator for your class. You have held many leadership positions on the Executive Committee, including Vice President for Philanthropy, Co-Vice President of Class Coordinators, Parliamentarian, and President-elect. The Wall of Outstanding Alumni Selection Committee was chaired by you during the years you have been President-elect. You were the representative for your class at the inauguration of President Dan McAlexander. Time after time, you have blessed this institution and her students with your servant's heart and your vision for the future. We are enormously grateful to you for your service to the college. You have been a great recruiter for the college, bringing numerous students from your school system to see and learn about LaGrange College. Your own children have even been impressed by your love of the college and have chosen it as their school. Your daughter Katie graduated in 2010. Your son Hill is a current student and will graduate in 2013. And your son Matthew will begin classes next semester and plans to graduate in 2015. How about that for recruitment? Your wife, the former Teresa Basilico, class of 1981, your family and your friends join us in paying tribute to you on this special day. And I'm going to ask that your family be recognized now. It is with great honor that LaGrange College presents to you Hilliard Jackson Daniel Sr., class of 1982, LaGrange College's Distinguished Service Alumni Award. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Lori, Jackson. Appreciate so much your service to this college and your loyalty to it. LaGrange College seeks to honor those who have distinguished themselves through outstanding achievement and service to the academy, the church, business, or philanthropy. We are pleased and honored to present two candidates today. Chairman Hodges, the faculty and the Academic Affairs Committee of the Board of Trustees have recommended the following candidates for recognition. Howard Hollis Bo Callaway for the degree of Doctor of Humanities, honoris causa, and William B. Lawrence for the degree of Doctor of Divinity, honoris causa.
As chair of the trustees of the college, I take great pleasure in accepting the recommendations of the president and the faculty of LaGrange College, and I hereby authorize you to confer honorary doctoral degrees upon Howard Hollis Bo Callaway and William B. Lawrence, together with all appropriate honors, rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. President McAlexander, please proceed.
Chairman Hodges, I present Howard Hollis Bo Callaway for the degree of Doctor of Humanities, honoris causa. Howard Hollis Bo Callaway, Doctor of Humanities, honoris causa, entrepreneur, philanthropist, patriot. We proudly claim you as a native son of LaGrange. You were born to Virginia and Casey Callaway in a family known as much for its unsurpassed compassion as its business success. During the Great Depression, your father ensured that his employees at Callaway Mills kept their jobs and had food on their tables. As a young man, his humility and humanity influenced you greatly. You personify America's best qualities, leadership and heroism. After studying at the Georgia Institute of Technology and graduating from the United States Military Academy at West Point, you arrived in Japan just soon enough to train your platoon and lead them in the Battle of Incheon, 4 days of Korean War combat considered one of the most decisive operations in modern warfare. Following military service, you helped your father open Callaway Gardens, and after his death in 1961, you set aside your own aspirations to ensure his vision thrived. You have said this unique family legacy means everything to you. Beyond its remarkable splendor and beauty, Callaway Gardens has led the way in land and wildlife stewardship through conservation and education. In 1964, you became the first Republican from Georgia elected to Congress since Reconstruction. 2 years later, you changed the course of Georgia history again as the first Republican nominee for governor since 1876. Then, a call from the White House, and you were appointed Secretary of the Army, serving under Presidents Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford. There, you were instrumental in moving the country's military to an all-volunteer force. As a lifelong public servant, you have gained deep respect from members of both political parties for your integrity and your transparency, qualities also evident in your business and personal endeavors. From soldier to humanitarian to environmentalist, your remarkable contributions make us proud to say, "Go Bo!" For your civility, service to your country, and stewardship of the rolling hills of Georgia, we humbly bestow upon you the degree of Doctor of Humanities honoris causa. Chairman Hodges, I present William B. Lawrence for the degree Doctor of Divinity honoris causa. William B. Lawrence, pastor, theologian, educator. You have devoted your life to the United Methodist Church. The grandson of coal miners, you grew up worshiping at a little church in Alden Station, Pennsylvania. It was a young student pastor there who inspired you to prepare for the ministry. After graduating from seminary, you were ordained as a United Methodist minister, and for 21 years you pastored churches in New York and Pennsylvania. Driven by a passion for preaching and teaching, you earned a PhD with distinction in homiletics and historical theology from Drew University. To encourage others on their spiritual journey, you taught at Duke Divinity School and Wesley Theological Seminary in Washington, D.C., where you were senior minister of Metropolitan Memorial United Methodist Church. After serving at Emory's Candler School of Theology here in Georgia, you now share your extraordinary gift of leadership as Dean of Southern Methodist University's Perkins School of Theology in Dallas, Texas. You have said, "The grace of God empowers people with a vision that pursues knowledge, justice, and great joy." The students at Perkins benefit from your keen vision, powerful enthusiasm, and your personal commitment to the Wesleyan traditions of honoring persons of all Christian faiths and striving to engage and transform the world. Everything about your work at Perkins is focused on creating dialogue around the great public questions of our time and on transforming people through a commitment to the power of God's grace. It is your personal mission to shape tomorrow's leaders for the church and the world. In the future, you have said, where one offers Christian leadership will matter far less than that it be offered in global awareness. We thank you for articulating for students the truths of the Christian faith and the need for authentic discipleship. Today, we humbly bestow upon you the degree of Doctor of Divinity honoris causa.
Mr. President, and Mr. Chairman. An institution of higher education is authorized to do only a very few things. We've heard today that institutions of higher education, and in particular LaGrange College, can indeed accomplish many things. Teach students how to break into administrators' offices, for instance, and commit theft. Or find new ways to alter their diets during the years. Or find new ways to travel the world and discover even greater layers of what it means to live transformed lives. But institutions of higher education like LaGrange College are really authorized only to do a few things that the world recognizes. And among those few are to award academic degrees. Some get the degrees because you earned them. Some get the degrees as acts of grace. I thank you for the act of grace that bestows upon me this treasured and humbling degree. Thank you very much.
The state of Georgia has authorized LaGrange College to confer academic degrees. As chair of the trustees of the college, I take great pleasure in accepting the recommendation of the president and the faculty of LaGrange College, and I hereby authorize President McAlexander to confer degrees upon the class of 2011 graduates, together with all appropriate honors, rights, privileges, responsibilities thereunto appertaining. President McAlexander, please begin.
Class of 2011, congratulations. You come from states ranging from the hot plains of Texas to the frigid farmland of Wisconsin, from 3 different countries, Mexico, the Netherlands, and Norway. You are significantly diverse, with 25% of you multicultural students. 32 of you are legatees, graduates who come from families with other graduates of the college. 12 of you have more than one relative who graduated from the college. And 4 of you come from families where both of your parents are Panther alumni. And today, 2 sisters are graduating together. The youngest among you is 20 years old, and the oldest, 60. Each and every one of you has a unique story to tell, and we are grateful that we've had the opportunity to help in shaping it during these last years. Congratulations. Provost Garrison, please begin with the awarding of degrees.
Will candidates for the following degrees please rise? Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Music, Bachelor of Science, and the Bachelor of Science in Nursing. President McAlexander, the faculty of LaGrange College certify that these candidates have met the requirements for conferring of degrees of Bachelor of Arts, the Bachelor of Music, the Bachelor of Science, or the Bachelor of Science in Nursing, and recommend that the appropriate degrees be conferred upon each candidate.
By the authority granted to me by the trustees and by the state of Georgia, I confer upon each of you the degree which you have earned, together with all the appropriate honors, rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. Those of you attaining your bachelor's degree may move your tassel from your right to your left and your college ring to face out, signifying that you are graduates of LaGrange College.
At this time, candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree and the Bachelor of Music degree, please come forward to receive your diploma. All graduates except those in the first row may be seated.
Andrea Elizabeth Andrews. Kyle Lee Armstrong. Derek Grenade Baldridge. Devin Nash Billing. Cheryl D. Blackston. Catherine E. Bomar. Shanna Tara Giles Brumlow. Kevin Dwayne Bice. Ramona D. Burden. Merrill Burke. Andrew Lamar Carter. Shelley Marissa Cathcart. Kelsey Nicole Chandler. Shayna Rena Chapman. Langley Allen Cheney. Matisa Childs. Crystal Noel Clark. Corbin Brooks Clintage. Michael Clayton Coburn. Karen Applewhite Comer. Derek Alexander Cox. Jennifer Elizabeth Crawford. Hazel Waller Crow. Bethany Willette Crumley. Roy Christopher Daniel. Tammy Ann Daniel. Jessica Shea Davidson. Amanda Hope Davis. LaWanda Faye Davis. John Ryan DeLong. Jill Miller Durbin. Sydney R. Devine. Mary Elizabeth Detweiler. Jennifer Lynn Eby. Sandra Lynn Edmondson. Gail A. Eugene. Emily Ashton Foster. Glenn Lewis Gantner. Britt Charles Gaylor. Christy Elizabeth Gladney. Carolyn A. Graham. Leora Elizabeth Hall. Holly Amanda Hazelwood. Catherine Elizabeth Hearn. Patricia Laurel Helms. Chelsea Hannah Herring. Timothy Eric Hill. Jennifer Delaney Hollis. Daphne Nicole Hoaxclaw. Sandra L. Hutzel. Matthew Joseph Wieschow. Perry M. Hyde. Katie Laurie Eisen. Tora Ann Jenkins. Christopher Henry Johnson. Jerry Wayne Jones Jr. Joy Blanche Cafruni. Amber Brian Kelly. Jennifer Lynn Knight. Molly Marie Korb. Kelly Ann Lane.
Yeah, I guess so. Awesome. Where she go?
Kristen Danae Lind. James Anthony Martone. Daniel Eric Maycock. Megan Kaylee McDonald. Shane Christopher McMillan. Eric Jonathan Medlock. Jonathan Glenn Milner. Craig E. Mobley. Carissa Ann Mons. Lindley Ruth Morton. William S. Nelson. Linda Reed O'Neill.
Way to go, O'Neill!
Sarah Irene Owens. Jonelle Yvette Padro. Talisha Yvonne Parks. Samantha S. Peluso. Alyssa Boatwright Penrod. Kenneth H. Pickens III. Brenda Denise Pooh. Sanaz Rashid Faroki. Gregory Hudson Repass. Zachary Jason Rhodes. Brian Charles Riggs. Catherine Marilyn Rodriguez. Chantrez Deshay Russell. Megan Melissa Salter. Stephen Carlton Sauter Jr. William Trent Scarborough. Judson Dacus Strown. Catherine Eliza Schroeder. Casey Elizabeth Seabaugh. Rebecca Elsie Shapiro. Jessica Ruth Shaver. Kaylin Thomas Short. Anna Carol Sims. Forrest Paul Skinner. Jesse Caleb Smallwood. Corey Allen Smith. Ricky Joe Smith. Stephen Lamar Spivey, Jr. Anna Ursary Stone. Carl Frederick Scow Stromsheim. William Joshua Stripling. James J. Suber. Angelina Renee Thomas. Michelle Simpson Thompson. Kelsey Emerson Tinker. Trevor Forrest Tullock. Demetrius Devon Tuttle. Greg Van Hoos. Denise Louise Van Rijst. Caitlin Elizabeth Vest. John Z. Visbel. Blakely Ryan Wahlberg. Raymond Gordon Wardlow. Megan Lee Waycaster. Andrew Jonathan Wetherington. Angel Michelle Watley. Jessica Lauren White. Joseph Ara White. Precious Dakota Arvella White. Nick Whitfield. Kenneth Edward Wiley. Cameron Xavier Williams. Albert J. Wong. Jonathan Ryan Zielinski. Morgan Juliet Earl. Paul H. Parker. Rebecca Regis Stewart. Nikki Barber. Jacqueline Belcher. Dale F. Brown, Jr. Andrew Byron Christie. Benjamin Crumley. Robert Nathaniel Dunaway. Derek Lee Duran. Bradley Edmonds. Jesse Curtis Ellison. Jack R. Fincher, Jr. Hernandez L. Head. Kathleen Marie Hine. Mary Kathleen Sylvan Henry. George Bernard Langford. Brandon L. Maddox. Ryan Christopher Moser. Matthew Garrett Olson. Bradley Kent Pierce. Megan Laureen Pitzer. Joseph Richard Wiegand. Mary Lynn Wisniewski. Daniel K. Yim. I'm chicken.
Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Nursing, please come forward to receive your diplomas.
Jessie Lynn Brown. Christina Amber Ellis. Phyllis Marie Yarborough Gentry. Angel Nicole Glaze. Tandra Marie Ivy. Whitley Ann James. Briaka Elizabeth Lane. Caroline Sheila Lucano. Lona Dawn Mahaseth. Lauren Michelle Norton. Elizabeth Morgan Pardue. Shannon Adcock Shelton. Jennifer Klein Taunton. And Erin Michelle Thompson.
Will the candidates for the following degrees please rise? The Master of Arts in Organizational Leadership, the Master of Arts in Teaching, and the Master of Education degree. President McAlexander, the graduate faculty certify that these candidates have met the requirements for the Master of Arts in Organizational Leadership, the Master of Arts in Teaching, or the Master of Education, and recommend that the appropriate degree be conferred upon them.
Assisting in the conferring of the master's degrees will be Dr. Douglas Floor, Director of the Graduate Program in Organizational Leadership for LaGrange College at Albany, and Dr. Margie Yates, Assistant Professor of Education and Chair of the Department of Education. The academic hood is a sign of the achievement of an advanced degree in a discipline. The colors of the velvet facing on the hood identify the discipline. At this time, I invite all master's degree candidates to assist one another in the donning of the hood. Candidates, please assist the candidate to your right. By the authority of the Board of Trustees and the State of Georgia, I confer on each of you the appropriate graduate degree as indicated in the program, together with all appropriate honors, rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining.
Candidates for the degree of Master of Organizational Leadership, please come forward to receive your diplomas. All graduates except those may be seated.
Teresa Ann Bowman Abernathy. Tucaro Patrice Davis. Lynette Dion Dilbert. Chauncey Kijonita Keith.
Candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in Teaching, please come forward to receive your diplomas.
Do your thing, Colbert. Yeah.
Logan Rice Adams. Mark Aki. Anna Kristen Brock. Dialio Burks, Sr.
Yeah. Yeah.
Adam Wayne Carroll. Candy Victoria Robinson Clark.
I know that man. You know we here, man. I know him.
Susan Nicole DeMooney.
Photographic memory. Right now, take a picture.
Laura Jean Ray Dodgett. Teresa Elsie. Christina Jaquith Ferguson. Kendra D. Fox Stinson. Benita Giddens. Zachary Wayne Grace. Robert Jacob Gurley. Kara Phillips Hall. Latasha Roberts Hardnett. Terry R. Hill. Jason F. Holston. Susan Michelle Horton. Kathy Lynn Hewlett. Portia Jackson. Maria Lynn Hope Jones. Yolanda Jones. Justin Lim Joyner. Alex Francis Kennedy. Shalonda Lakeisha Lovett. Joyce Klein Metzger. Ann Flower Monley. Ruby Jean Montgomery. Bradley Kyle Parrott. Kimberly Fodell Patton. Elizabeth Mallory Pomeroy. Eric Jamon Portress. Judson William Price.
Yeah.
Mary Allison Reagan. Alexis Nicole Rayleigh.
Oh, yeah.
Sonia Yvette Randleson. Demetrius Dwayne Render. Jessica Kirkland Royal. Johnny Arthur Saxon Jr. Mary Ann Spence. Susan Carol Standifer. Emily Hart Stewart. Melissa P. Tinsley. Wendy Beth Tomlinson. Laura Rivera Tomshek. Letitia Nicole Trammell. Felicia Hill Turnipseed. Nicholas Waltz. Danita Miranda Welch. Brannon Browder Wiley. Jamisha Nichelle Wimbush. Leslie Hornsby Winter. Lawrence S. Young, Jr.
The next students will be receiving the degree of Master of Education. Please come forward.
Amy R. Addison. Ashley May Akers. Catherine Lynn Athon. Tammy Rainey Ayers. Anna Elizabeth Banks. Susan Graves Barber. Scott William Barnett. Erin Elizabeth Beeman. Donald Jeffrey Benefield. Deanna Lee Betzel. Jared Paul Bingham. Linda Bingham. Erin Meredith Blake. Tori Lee Bridge. Samantha Ashley Bullard. Sarah DeLynn Bowman. Lindsay Moore Carnes. Teresa Schumann Clements. Catherine Smith Coleman. Brandy Wood Cook. Carla Johnson Cook. Kelly Marie DeMarino. Elizabeth Richardson Dorr. Benita Andrea Epps. Laurie Jean Fambro. Amanda Elizabeth Freeman. Cynthia Robinson Green. Tiffany M. Green. Courtney Hand Harry. Catherine Lee Hatcher.
She's going to be number 65 in this bunch right here.
Lisa Ann Hicks Howard. Julie Rebecca Height. Allison Cook Holmes. Becky Burnett Ivy, Suzanne Riggs Jackson, Elizabeth Harris Joe, Crystal Elaine Jones,
Why am I holding it up if you ain't gonna be still?
Ashley Rosser Judy, Michelle Andrea Knoll, Christine Nicole Lanier, Amy Callis Leonard, Allison Michelle Lovinguth, Leslie Chardon McNeil, Nicholas Aaron McNeil, Julia Barrows McNeil, James A. Moore, Zontrina Kaminich Morton, Patsy Carol Neal, Christopher Blake Palmer, Kimberly Peterson, Deborah Cooper Piper, Jessica Leanne Reed, Eric Humberto Rodriguez, Valerie A. Rodriguez, Nicole Joyce Roth, Marilyn Gwen Adams Stamps, Ramonica Simona Stevens, Andrea Stipe, Render Ocedra Terrell Jr., Lisa Rosser Thomas, Christy Lee Underwood, Kevin Kenneth Waldrop, Michelle Pilkington Ward, Janice Ann Weirden, Heather Lee Westad, Amy Franks Westbrook, Amy Ann Williams.
Join me in offering a round of applause for all graduates, the class of 2011.
Well, graduates, you did it. We could not be more proud. A few of you decided to give me a gift as you walked across the stage. I'm sure the message is somewhat meta, but they're guitar picks, and I'm sure that it says that when it comes to students, LaGrange College knows how to pick them. Please rise for the singing of the alma mater, after which the Reverend Dr. Quincy Brown will offer the benediction. Please remain in place during the academic recessional, and thank you for being part of this celebration today.
Megan, did you say that? No, the case.
You know what's in there.
I am oft Will you join me for the benediction? As you go from this place to use your education, to use your gifts in service to the world, may the road you travel rise up to greet you, and may the wind be at your back. And if the road refuses to rise up, follow it boldly into the valley, for God is in the valley. And if the road rises too high and becomes too steep for you to travel, follow the road to the summit of the mountains, for God is on the mountain. And if you feel the wind at your face, stretch out your wings and fly on the Spirit's promise that God will never leave you nor forsake you. Go now in peace, with your face shining like the sun, boldly following your path into the future, wherever God may lead you. Amen.
Kamikaze.